So we will try to start with just an overview holistically of the garden. This is an August garden that's had some good days and some bad days. But y'all, this is our August garden that I'm getting ready to show you in our August update. Hello and welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. It's been a minute since I've done a complete garden tour, and that's what we're going to work on today. Hi everybody, today is August 14th and I only have a few minutes, so I'm going to have to break this up into a couple separate clips. But it's been a long time since I just walked you through the whole garden to show you what's going on at Kim's Cozy Corner. And we are going to start today with this metal raised bed right behind me. And yes, y'all, I got behind. And we are playing catch up on a few things. But I do have carrots over here that we will get harvested this weekend. They've been in a long time. This was supposed to be lettuce. It's not. They just didn't make it, y'all. They didn't make it. But we will take care of that. And then there's supposed to be some golden turnips over here, as well as some beets. Now, I believe the beets are going to make it, some of them anyway, but those turnips didn't make it. These turnip greens, 7-top turnip greens, have been in my garden for a long time. I put them in my garden probably in April, and we're in August, y'all. And so they're starting to get some green tint, or not green, but some white mildew and dust and stuff on them. So we'll get those pulled out. Right next to it in this spot right here, I have wrap, however you say it, greens, R-A-P-E greens. And I have a nice, big, beautiful, look at that. You see that bug right there? That's a cucumber beetle. They didn't do so well. They didn't do well at all, but it's been super hot, y'all, and I'm not giving up. We're going to keep trying to grow this particular plant right here, right next to it. There we go. Another round of carrots that I put in here. And y'all, they're doing well. And then on the end over here, y'all, I planted some Royal Burgundy beans. So these are bush beans. They do vine just a little bit. I'm trying to get where you can see them. There's one. There's one of those beans right there. Now, when you cook these beans, they do turn green, and we will be harvesting them this weekend. There's some more over here, but they definitely should be ready to harvest by the weekend. This is a 6-foot Vego garden metal or elevated raised bed is what it is, and it's 6 feet long and it's about 2 feet wide, and I keep it right here on my patio close to the house, and we've already succession planted once and we'll be doing that again really soon. This is another one of my GreenStalks or another planter I should say, that's been going since like early April, and it has the same issue on the leaves here. Whatever that white stuff is, it's quite disgusting on the leaves, on some of them anyway. This is where we are, and there were some turnip greens in the top and collard greens in the bottom. And y'all, for GreenStalk number 1, that's what we're going to call this because there's 15 in all. But for GreenStalk number 1, it's seen better days, and we need to succession plant it really, really soon. GreenStalk number 2 is right here, y'all. And we have already succession planted this GreenStalk. I cut the basil up here to try to promote new growth, and it did, y'all. Look at this. These are new stems coming on, and I will be able to take this basil, there's a whole bunch of new stems right there, and we're going to dehydrate it. I don't have a freeze dryer. I wish I did, but I don't. and we will have basil all winter long. Basil doesn't like that cool weather, so I need to get some indoors before winter hits. And this next tier, the next 2 tiers, I've already replanted these tiers with some lettuce. And some of it's already coming up. There's a little bitty lettuce plant down there. You probably can't even see it, but they're back there. And so lettuce is starting to come up. I planted them from seed. And then in the very bottom 3 tiers, this tier here was already planted and it's been going all season long, but this one just above it and just below it, they're all parsley. And y'all, it hasn't broken ground yet that I can tell. So hopefully the parsley will come up soon and we will be able to keep that parsley harvest coming. Right next to it right here is a rolling planter from Vego Garden as well. And one of my plants, y'all, is dead. It's just as dry and dead as it can be. But the other one is still trying to survive. And those are tomatoes in that planter there. And right next to the front of my house here is where I have all of my sweet potatoes. The sweet potatoes, believe it or not, that's a metal raised bed there. And then there are 3 containers. There's a fabric pot and 2 plastic pots. But these vines have just spread and just taken over this space. And usually when you think about potatoes and things like that, when you see blooms, that usually tells you that there's some type of potato growing down below. And sometimes my potato plants blooms and sometimes they don't. But y'all, it goes from way over there. It's completely enveloped this bush right here. You can't even tell there's a bush back there. Believe it or not, there is a hedge right there. And then they just keep coming around and coming around in this space here. I've been growing potatoes in this space here now. This would be year 4. And I'm super, super happy with the harvest that I got the last 2 years. And I'm hoping this year will outdo the other 2. Now also in this bed here, y'all see this plant right here? This plant right here is a ground cherry. I did not plant this. I have some little animal that brought this over here to this space here, and there are little ground cherries right there. We picked about 6 or 7 of them off of this plant yesterday and enjoyed those. But that plant is happy where it's growing, even though I didn't put it there. Now I'm pretty much finished with my fruit trees. I think I only have 2 pieces of fruit left on a tree from a fruit tree standpoint. But this fruit tree, as usual, for the last 2 years now, has given me tons and tons of peaches. So we got peaches off of that one. And this one here, we got 1 or 2 peaches off of it. But it wasn't very happy, but now it's all full. Let me show you. It's all green and full. And this is like the healthiest I've ever seen it. Uh-oh, I see something that I need to fix. Oh, nope, it's fixing itself. This tree trunk is finally getting really big and thick and healthy. So we will be able to hopefully get as many peaches off of this tree as we did that one. Maybe next year. In this pot that's full of weeds here that I never water. I'm surprised it's even alive. But these are raspberry plants that I hope to get a second round of harvest off of them this fall. This is a volunteer, if you can see it there. This is a volunteer blackberry plant, and the blackberry bushes are just right here next to it, so I'm sure that's how it got there. And I've enjoyed quite a few blackberries this year. I was able to harvest some of the biggest blackberries, the juiciest, the sweetest blackberries I have ever harvested. I think we're on year like 4 or 5 with my blackberry bushes, and so that's probably one of the reasons why, because the bush is so well established that we were able to get those good blackberries this year. Again, I got to share my fruit with the animals. So I still got a nice supply where I haven't had to go to the store to buy any, but y'all, I want more. All of the fruit are gone off of the 3 apple trees that are back here. But y'all, the trees are growing nicely. It's time for us to give them a summer pruning here really, really soon. But there's no fruit on these trees. And I didn't get to enjoy any fruit off of these trees thanks to either rodents or people. I don't know which one this year. So now let's talk about some of the fun stuff. So I'm going to get into the main garden area and I'm going to show you where we are. And there's some good in here and there's some bad in here, but let's get started. This is one of the first beds that I want to show you. We have volunteer tomatoes. These are black cherry tomatoes growing in the back here. I did not plant this. It decided it wanted to be here, and so I let it be here. Uh-oh, see another issue. Kim, to the rescue. All right, let's get you up there. The one thing I find about black cherries is that they have such a desire to grow that once you plant them, you will have them forever. Kind of like those ground cherries. On the trellis here in the back of this bed, I am growing melons. I am growing a ton of melons, and I'm hoping for my best melon season yet. Last year was a wipeout, it was a wash, but this year I am hoping that we get to redeem ourselves. There's one down there. And there's quite a few on here. And now it's spilling out into the front of the bed here onto the ground. And when I see that, I try to get it back up. But that's where we are. In the very front of this bed, I have okra and melons, because that melon growing right there on that okra. I haven't harvested from these yet. These were some of the last okra that I put in place. Haven't harvested yet. Boy, there's another and 2 more back here. Y'all, there's more on here than I thought it was. Oh my goodness. And there's some baby ones and big ones. Wow. And they have spilled from over there into this space right here. And I got melons growing over on this trellis as well. And there's one of them right there growing. And in front of those melons back there, I have turnip greens, and I need to get them out of here, y'all. They've been going since April. But y'all, there's some big, well, there's some really, really big turnips down here. So we need to get these harvested and give these turnips away, because I'm not eating anybody's turnips. Not this kind anyway. Right next to it, I planted some cucumbers to give me another round of cucumbers going, so we can keep that cucumber harvest just doing what it needs to do. So those are 2 cucumber plants, and I'm hoping they have time to kind of fill out and we can get some cucumbers from there. In this space right here, I harvested my first round of potatoes and I planted a second round of potatoes, and that looks like a little potato plant right there coming up, but that's the only place where I see it coming up for now. And here's broccoli that I need to manage, which I haven't. We'll get that cut back and keep getting side shoots off. And y'all, these are not beautiful butterflies flying around. Y'all, these are the moths that leave worms behind. So they are having a ball, but they got to get out my garden, y'all. In the front, I got a few more sweet onion that I need to get harvested and drying. Just hadn't got to it, y'all. I'm doing what I can do. And this is the 2 beds that I'm like really hurt. I'm really, really hurt, y'all. It looked like 3, maybe 4 raccoon in my garden a couple nights ago. And y'all, they had a ball. They came in here, they pulled each and every one of these corn stalks down, and they nibbled and they ate and they had a party. One was over here first by himself. He looked at the tomatoes. He didn't like what he saw with the tomatoes. So he came over here to my corn And y'all, he went to town. My corn was almost ready to harvest. I will attach the little short video I did about my corn right here. Hi everybody. I had a burglar in my garden last night. A burglar was in my garden. I captured him on video and the burglar wiped me out. Well, we will not have corn this year again, but for a very different reason. Last night, I found a raccoon having a buffet on my corn. They were having a party, they were having a blast. There were multiple raccoons in the garden, and it must have been mighty tasty. And I don't grow that much corn, y'all. I don't grow that much. But it must have been mighty tasty because he pulled down every corn stalk available, peeled back, and had an amazing, amazing dinner last night around 3 o'clock in the morning. If nothing else, I can definitely attest to the corn must be quite delicious. So we'll have to grow these two varieties next year. But I guess I need to grow enough for me, enough for the squirrels, the raccoon, the deer, and everybody, just so I can get a harvest. Well, if nothing else, the corn tasted really, really good, or I don't believe that one raccoon would have invited his friends. But anyway, the corn's gone. We're not going to get any corn. We're done. But I was doing a two-sister garden, and so I do have shelling peas in this bed here that's been trampled on. I'm going to get over in here and I'm going to do my best to harvest as many of those shelling peas that were attached to the corn. There's some more over here in the bed right there. So we will get the shelling peas out of there, but that's it, y'all. Nothing else is going to happen with this corn. These two pots right here were originally potato pots or grow bags. I have now replaced those potatoes with squash. So we'll have squash coming up in here very soon. That's like round 2, 3, 4. I done lost count, y'all, but lots and lots of squash coming up this year. This is my rhubarb. I've never harvested my rhubarb yet, and I really want to, but I haven't done it yet, and I don't have anything to cook with it, so I got to work on finding a good recipe. In the very back of that bed, right back there, I have, I believe, cucumbers coming up, and that was a winter squash right there, and it just didn't make it. A tomato plant in there. I don't remember harvesting many tomatoes off of this one, but that is a tomato plant for sure. And these plants aren't happy. I think this will be the last year. Well, I know it will because I'm going to redesign the whole garden, but this will be the last year that we put tomatoes as well as onion in this space right here. There's a few tomatoes right there. And just behind there, and we're not going back there, y'all, but just behind there, I do have squash growing, both yellow squash and zucchini is growing back there. We just harvested that today, and there's still more coming in. We may be overrun with squash here in a minute. I was afraid we wouldn't have enough. We're going to have too much. In this bed right here, I had beans growing, green beans. They've all died back. I need to clean this bed up as well. And right here beside it are, guess what? Black cherry tomatoes. These are volunteer plants that I did not plant. And there are cherry tomatoes on them. Some big, big cherry tomatoes. We'll get those harvested probably later today, if not tomorrow. In this GreenStalk right here, I have all hot peppers. And y'all, this is the year for peppers for me. I have done really, really well with both hot peppers and sweet peppers. The GreenStalk is full of them. I need to get a few more supports on here to kind of keep them up. But this GreenStalk did amazing. Now, in the very top of this GreenStalk, I planted onion because I don't need that many hot peppers. And the onion did really well. We've already harvested some. Like this one right here is ready to be harvested, and it's a really nice size. I find that my white sweet onion have a better storage life than my yellow. So I'm really happy that they're coming in. And there's also jalapenos. And right here, these are cayenne peppers. And there's a pepper on the ground that shouldn't be on the ground. But that's my GreenStalk hot pepper planter. We're coming on across here. I also have plants on the ground that I need to get up, but these are more shelling peas on the ground, and they're actually intertwined and climbing up the tomatoes as well. So two sister over here as well. We have all cherry and grape style tomatoes in this little section right here. Some really nice tasting ones as well. This right here, this Rosella, is the first year I've ever grown it. It has a really, really good taste. It reminds me a lot of the black cherry. It's just a smaller tomato. Boy, look at all of those peas up on top. Coming on down to this side right here, we have Cherokee Purple, which is one of my favorite tomatoes as well. Moving on to this bed right here. So, yeah, I was just out here 2 days ago and I had nothing in this bed. Y'all, look at this. We're going to have to pick. We will be picking beans over here this weekend. I'm going to have to. There's way too many when there were none 2 days ago. But these are, now that they're getting bigger, I can see them. These are going to be yellow beans, I believe, all in this space here. Look at that, y'all. Beans and beans and more beans. Wow. I didn't know it had fallen back over here. Ooh, here we go. They're so heavy, they're laying on the back side of the bed, but we're going to harvest them all and we're going to enjoy them all. There is another one of those ground cherries. And then there's broccoli over here. Some of these, you know, like I could harvest that one, y'all. That's not that bad. But some of these have gone completely to flower. The next bed here, this is squash. Now this bed originally was just a potato bed. We harvested the potatoes. We added squash to the back, squash to the front, and potatoes in the middle. I didn't put my trellising up, my supports up for the potatoes because I don't think we're going to have a problem with them getting too big just because we're out of time. But I did put some fencing around it to try to keep it off of the squash that's in front and behind it. This is my herb bed that I've done nothing to. There's oregano right here being shaded out by all of this sage right here. And then I have chives beside the sage, and there's some thyme. And then a plant that's full of yuckiness. We got to get rid of that plant. It's already been harvested. There was a cabbage there. We'll come around to this one here. This is a GreenStalk full of nothing but yellow wax beans. Oh my goodness. Y'all, most of the pockets on here were empty 2 days ago. There was nothing out here at all, nothing. But those are brand new beans coming up. So I replanted a majority of the pockets here with more yellow wax beans. And y'all, they are up. They are up. Yellow wax beans. I do not have a year supply yet. I am working on that year supply. But y'all, look at that. So we got rain for the last, well, we got a little bit yesterday during the middle of the day, but the night before we got a lot of rain, and it hasn't rained here in weeks. So my garden, it's like it just woke up. It rained, the garden woke up, and it's producing like mad, and I'm not mad that the garden's going crazy. I'm going to show you two more beds, and then we're going to have to take a break. All right, I am back on the back side of where those little cherry tomatoes are. And y'all look at all of these peas. Look at that, y'all. The one thing that I've always had were ants around my peas when I grow my peas. They've never bothered the peas in any way at all, but they're just crawling all over them, and they always has. So I'm going to try to move through here and not step on everything, just so I can show you the back side. All right, you see this pea right here? This one's almost ready. That one is. It looks like I got a couple different varieties in here. This might be my cream zipper pea, because that's what that looks like. This looks like a purple hull pea, but I don't remember what they're supposed to be, but we got peas, all different kinds. But anyway, we're on the back side. We got peas climbing up. And there are more peas here. And this right here is my black strawberry cherry tomatoes. Whoa, I didn't see all of those right there, boy. Y'all, this might be a good pea season. Those are champagne bubbles. They need to be picked as well. I've already showed you this green stalk right here. And I'm facing in the other direction now. So that's where we were just looking. So we're going to swing over and we're going to look right here. This entire bed of tomatoes are all some type of yellow tomato, orange, combination of yellow and orange, but anything yellow and orange would be in this space here. Tomatoes are coming in really, really slow for me this year, but they are starting to come in. We had that hot weather so early on, so my plants stopped putting blooms on. Yeah, this one's not happy. And then it started putting blooms on again, and then the rain stopped. So anyway, just wanted you to completely see what's going on here. And then there are peas over here as well, right here. I almost feel like the peas want to come across to this side. They're trying to close this space out where I can't even get in here is what they're trying to do. But anyway, let me get out of here. Let's keep walking through the garden. More peas and peas and peas everywhere. Now this is the back side of that same bed that I was just showing you. There are a ton of peas over here as well. And something is really killing these plants right here. It's like they're not happy at all. Last year, my orange and yellow tomatoes did better than any other type of tomato that I grew. Y'all, when the peas look like this right here, that's when they're ready. This is when you pick them, when they're all dry. Now you can pick them before this stage, but I prefer to let them just stay on here and dry all the way out, and then I can take my time at harvesting them. I'm moving on over here to my dwarf tomato green stalk, and y'all, it's not happy. It's not very happy at all. Look at all those dead leaves on it. I was cleaning up my garden, and y'all, I didn't clean this up. Not even a little bit. And I keep forgetting to come in here and water this space. So I got completely dead tomatoes in here. And then I got some in here that are trying to thrive right beside it. But this one stays dry all the time. Placement makes a difference, y'all, in your garden. Wherever you place your stuff, it makes a big difference. And this green stalk, let me bag up. It's a jungle. The grapes are in front of it, tomatoes on this side of it. It's just not getting enough sunlight, I don't think. And probably not enough airflow either, just because of where it's located. But anyway, this is my dwarf tomato green stalk. It's had a rough go of it this year. I need to get this dead stuff out. Maybe this weekend we'll work on this one. We did a whole bunch in the garden last weekend. And so I mentioned the grapes are right in front of it. And y'all, for the grapes, you see those grapes right there? Most of them are gone. The birds have been eating the grapes. So even though I had a grape harvest, I had a couple of grapes, most of them went to the birds this year. But they can have the grapes as long as they leave everything else alone, right? It's called the balance. And I'm going to show you the backside of this bed here. In this bed here, these are all red slicing tomatoes. That's everything I'm growing in here. There was one or two tomatoes in here that were paste style tomatoes, but they're not doing so great. So not a lot of paste tomatoes this year, but we got some really, really nice size slicing tomatoes. They're late, but they're coming. Uh-oh, I missed that. There's a red tomato in there. I didn't see that. We'll pick it tomorrow. Coming on through, I'm starting to get some blushing on these here. There's another one that's getting some blushing on it. Man, there's some big ones in there, y'all. So coming to the other side, you can probably see a little better that there's some pretty big tomatoes in there. And there's some in here that don't look so great. Like for example, these opaca, or however you say it, tomatoes. Last year, it was one of my best tomatoes that grew. This year, they are fairly small. That's a big one. Whoo, look at that one, y'all. It's gonna be a beautiful slicing tomato. In the very front of the bed right here, we've harvested pretty much all of the onion out the front. So I have some open space here that we can get something else planted in. I do have okra growing right here too, but this is not a good spot for okra at this time of the year. Early summer, this is a perfect spot. The very front of the garden is absolutely getting the sun that's coming in from behind me here. But as the season goes on, this area gets shaded out pretty quickly because of growth in other areas and the trees over at my neighbors there. So they don't get any of that hot evening sun, and okra loves hot weather. So this will not be the right location for okra in the future, but I'm redesigning this whole space, y'all. It's gonna be completely different. I also have some cabbage here that I need to get out because it's not doing nothing, y'all. It's just taking up space. So we'll get the cabbage out and then we will replant this whole area this weekend. Of course, you know you're coming with me. So we will be planting the whole area. You will be with me. I'll be talking you through my process. I'll be asking you questions, and please feel free to ask me questions and give me tips along the way when I am in the garden doing different things. So I just want to spin you around just to show you how, from a distance here, how wild these grapes are. Y'all, look at that. Look at those grapes. They're like taking over everything. And like I said, I harvested very few of those grapes. I just let the birds have it, and I'm picking and choosing which of my fruits I'm going to keep and which ones I'm willing to share. In the very front, I have strawberries there. You can't tell it, there and here, but it's been too hot for strawberries, but they're starting to come back in. I have ever-bearing strawberries, so I usually get strawberries in the spring as well as in the fall. But to be perfectly honest with you, when it's super hot and I know the strawberries are not putting on, I won't water them. That's just more work for me. I don't water them the way I should. Let me put it that way. If I'm coming through and I'm in a hurry and I can't get to everything, I skip the strawberries. But that's not the right answer. The right answer is that I water them like I water the rest of the garden. And so now that it's cooling off, I'm getting better at watering the strawberries like I water the rest of the garden. So hopefully we will start promoting a little more growth so we can have some strawberries this fall. So that's it for the main part of the garden. We're going to go ahead and head over to the neighbors. Way, 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 way. Eventually you're going to be able to see it. The neighbors. So we're going to head over to the neighbors. I'm going to do that area next. So as we're walking over to the neighbors, I used to have a tree stump in here. I went ahead and had that removed when we did the redesign of the orchard area here. So now the whole backyard is wide open with nothing in the way. I just need the grass to grow here so I can start cutting it. So I'm going to give you a view from a distance of the neighbors, which y'all, yeah, I didn't do anything over here, y'all. I haven't been taking care of them properly, but they're still getting a ton of food. I'm just not doing a good job of keeping the harvest coming for them. Just being a little busy. But this GreenStalk right here has lettuce in it. I did a second round of lettuce once it cooled off a little bit, so we do have lettuce coming in here. Now I gotta get all of this out, but that's old lettuce plants that have gone to seed. And down there is the first round of dragon tongue. And y'all, it don't look that great, but it's still producing dragon tongue beans, y'all. They have not quit. Every time I believe dragon tongue beans are done and I'm ready to pull them out, by the time I get to them, I look down and they're still pumping out beans. So if you are interested in the dragon tongue, like this one right here, and you like that wide flat bean, which I don't, and it has a great taste, by the way, dragon tongue is a great option for you. Look at that. There's some dragon tongue right here. That's a big one. Right there it is. And dragon tongue beans, you can open up the outside of the bean and eat it like a dried bean as well. So it's very versatile if that's something you like. But here we are in mid-August, and we're watching everything starting to really die back. Here's the other GreenStalk that I set up for my neighbor, which again, I didn't pay much attention to. But there's one little tomato up there. There are peppers coming in as well. There's a little orange yummy pepper in there. One of the issues that we have is that the flowers always overtakes this corner, and then I'm fighting the plants and the flowers to try to figure out how they can all live together in harmony. But there's some little bitty micro dwarf tomatoes up there that's not looking so great either, but they're there. Now, my neighbor told me that they had a bout with hornworms over here while I was away. And they used 7 to deal with the hornworms. They use the powdered 7 to deal with them. And that happened while I was away. And they said they found like 4 or 5 of them in the garden, and it had been years since they've seen them. But they didn't have the wasp to help them out like I did. But hornworms did decimate their tomatoes this year. But there's still more than enough over here for them. For those of you who are new to my channel, I take care of this garden. Well, I'm supposed to take care of this garden for my neighbors. I grow everything from seed. I have transplants over here, and then I get everything in the garden for them. So the only thing they got to do is water the garden and enjoy the vegetables coming out the garden. And anything extra, I get to take back to my house. But we're starting to die down, and I didn't do a good job of second round over here. But they can always get from my garden anytime they like. The first 2 beds right here are mostly flowers. There are a few spring onion in the front that my neighbor keeps going. Right here, y'all see this? These are ground cherries. And my neighbors didn't even know what they were until a week ago. But this is one of those ground cherries I was telling you about. And you see, they fall to the ground. That's those little husks down there. They are on the plant. When they fall to the ground, they're super sweet and they're ready to be eaten. It looks like my neighbors are not eating them fast enough. So they'll be having ground cherries growing here for many years to come. We do have some carrots back here. I haven't harvested any carrots over here yet, but we will very soon. I have okra growing back here, and this okra is doing really well. It's been putting off a ton of okra. So between this one and 2 little pots I have, I've been able to feed okra to like 4 or 5 different people this year. And the blooms open up so pretty, but I don't see any open blooms to show you at the moment. And then back here, I started another round of beans for my neighbor, just in case he wanted more beans. They didn't come up so great, but there's some beans in there. And then we have been harvesting tons and tons of cucumbers here lately. I think every time I come out here, I'm harvesting at least 3 or 4 pounds of cucumbers. And I know I saw some in here. There's one right there. And believe it or not, my mom said she's already harvested over here today. She missed a few. Oh, wow, there's going to be quite a few over here this weekend. And some of them are dying back, so there's some dead ones in here. And there's powder on here. You can't see it. It's hard to see it, but there was powder on these leaves because guess what else came in? And you already know it, and that's the cucumber beetles. There's one. Where did I see that other one at? It's a big one, I thought. I grow mostly slicing cucumbers, mostly pickling cucumbers, but there are a few slicing cucumbers over here. In this bed right here, we have cherry style tomatoes for my neighbor, many different varieties growing here, and they seem to have bounced back the best from the hornworms compared to the other tomatoes. But then think about it, they don't need as long to grow as a full slicing tomato. There's supposed to be tomatoes right here, but y'all, you can see this. These tomatoes don't look good. Look at that. They don't look good. Oh, there's a big one. It's a nice size one right there. 1 or 2 plants that might have survived. A couple over there as well, but they're not looking too healthy. They're not happy. That one over there is laying all the way over on the ground, y'all. But getting back over here, squash over here has done really well this year. This one squash plant is growing and twisting and turning. Oh, that's cucumber. You got cucumber all the way over here? I bet nobody's looking for cucumber down here. Okay. All right. Well, that's a cucumber plant. And I'm stepping on it. Okay, I got to do some maintenance right quick. Let's at least push it back that way, so nobody's stepping on it. And that is a white scallop squash. Uh-oh. I think the cucumber beetles done got these over here, y'all. That's completely dying back. Now, I haven't been over here in a week or so, but it's not looking too happy back here. And I seriously doubt Mom went back in that area to see what was going on. Oh, there's a nice size one over there that I bet your Mom didn't see. That one right there. But you can see it's all limp and wilted like that. That's usually a sign that the cucumber beetles have gotten it, or they're working on it anyway. So I do have a few more cabbage over here that never grew to any decent size. We may just go ahead and get those harvested and enjoy those. We got some kale right here. Uh-oh. They are down to 1 celery. That's all they got left, y'all. 1 celery. But they can keep harvesting off of that for a little while anyway. And over here is a bed of beans I've been harvesting off of for many months at this point in time. These are green beans in the front, which need to be harvested. They are starting to dry up, but in the back I do have dragon tongues back here as well. But there's some nice green ones down off in there. And I got one more big onion over here that need to get harvested. And that's a big one, y'all. That's a nice size yellow sweet onion. And y'all, we got some kind of infestation on these plants right here. There are little yellow bugs crawling on it. But I have ladybugs taking care of those bugs. Not that we eating anything out of this bed right now. Okay, y'all, I took a break just to get out of the heat for a minute, and y'all, it's the next day. So let's finish this August garden tour, and we are going to finish it in my orchard area. I guess this is a good place to start as any. So the orchard area is looking amazing, and again, I love my orchard area. I have a peach tree right here that, of course, is done, but we have to make sure we water it and make sure it continues to live so that we can get peaches on it next year. A lot of my flowers are not so happy. They are not happy at all, but I've been trying to improve my overall watering of my flowers. As I mentioned before, strawberries are starting to come in, and I have 3 strawberry GreenStalk vertical planters. I have one in 3 different colors, actually. I have stone, chocolate, and the green. And I'm doing a better job of watering those now that we are trying our best to get strawberry harvest this fall. There's a strawberry right there. There's one. So they're just starting to come in again, along with a whole bunch of grass growing in that one there. So the next thing I need to do is get them cleaned up so that the strawberries have room to come in. But y'all, look at this. Look at this right there. My first ever, and I do mean ever, honeydew melon. I've tried to grow for years. It's not ready yet. It's getting close. Now, I was told that cantaloupe fall right off the vine. I just don't know if this honeydew is going to do the same thing or not. So I'm watching it, making sure nothing goes wrong. And in this bed right next to it, we harvested a ton of volunteer potatoes out of this bed. And now all of the melons have room. So that's another honeydew right there. And then I have 2 melons there and a couple other places as well. There's one on the ground. I think there's some around on the other side. And then right here, this plant that's dying back, that was from my winter squash, which is right here. Look at that winter squash, y'all. I'm gonna come on the other side just so I can get a better view of it. She looks good, but she's not ripe. She's not ready. When you're growing winter squash, you want the skin, the outside rind of the squash to get hard. So if you take your fingernail and you can pierce the skin, it's not ready yet. Another way to know that you're getting close to being ready is the stem coming off of that winter squash. It's going to be a real dark brown, like almost dying back. And this stem is still a real light color, but the vine itself is not healthy. So we're going to leave it out here as long as we can, and hopefully we're going to get this one to fully mature so that it'll last a long time. My apple trees that I put in last fall should not have apples on them, but I have 2 right here. And these are pink lady apples. It is one of my favorite apples, and it's the only 2 apples I have. So hopefully I'll get to keep those. There's my little cherry tree right there. These 2 baskets are done. I need to get these out. And once I take those out, I'm going to try to put something that's good for the fall in there so I can keep this area looking nice. A lot of the flowers in my little pots like that are still doing very well. I have coleus over here. The bees have been loving the coleus. So we're over in front of my she shed. Let me spin around so you can see where I am. So you see I'm right next to the orchard area, and I do have coleus growing in a few pots. This is GreenStalk number 15. I just set it up less than a week ago at this point, and y'all, they're coming up already. In here, I have mustard green in the bottom. They're already coming up. I have lettuce coming in as well. And in addition to the lettuce, I have carrots, and the carrots have come up as well in a few of the pockets. There's some carrots coming up there. I can't wait for this one to fully bloom and bush out and do all of those good things. So you can see the green leaves with the yellow background of the GreenStalk. And my goal right now with my apple trees, right, is just to keep them healthy and growing, improve that overall root structure so that it makes it through the winter and we can have apples next year. This was GreenStalk number 14 right here, y'all, and it has been producing all year long. The flowers are starting to look a little rough, but for the most part, it's doing pretty good. And we've harvested a little bit of everything off of here. We've harvested peppers and eggplant and zucchini. There's a zucchini right there. And this zucchini plant has lasted longer than any of my other zucchini plants. There's a melon. I don't know if it's going to get big enough, but back to the zucchini here. It's lasted longer than any of my other zucchini plants, and it's probably because of it being in the GreenStalk that those little squash bugs aren't able to get to that area as easy, or maybe they're just not interested. And I know I'm spinning it in all different directions here, but this is that second round of cucumbers right here. And it's really starting to take off, and they're getting blooms on them too. So the nice dark green leaves are from the second round, and these are from that first round. I do have one cauliflower that's actually super healthy in here. It's looking good. I don't see the cauliflower on it yet, but there's GreenStalk number 14. Moving on over here. I done lost count on which one's what, but I'm gonna have to start numbering the GreenStalks so I can keep a better list and history of how they're doing. But on this GreenStalk, my tomato plants weren't looking too good. I gave them a fertilizer last week, and now they've just like really bounced back, y'all. They look good. I got jalapenos growing in here. I just planted beans last weekend in here, and they've already come up. That is an eggplant, but I haven't harvested any eggplants off of that particular one. But everything's greening up. I got the old dead leaves off of these tomatoes, and now they're happy again. There's another second round of cucumbers on here. And yes, y'all, I guess you can tell I planted a lot of cucumbers because last year the cucumber beetles were so bad, and that when they took me out, I wasn't able to get any cucumbers. But y'all, I may have overdid it this year. I may have planted way too many cucumbers because the first round's not done and the second round is coming in. But I'm not mad. That's just more food to give away. This planter also, I've harvested sweet peppers off of here as well. There's broccoli. And then I also have right here, which I need to get harvested this weekend. There is cauliflower, and you see, I need to get some of this out of here. But there's cauliflower growing over here as well as some kale, and I think I've been all the way around. And there's a sweet bell pepper right there, but it's looking good. I'm happy, y'all. And over here, right next to my she shed, I do have flowers growing on the side. Y'all have a new respect for flowers. They work really hard in the garden, and they've worked really hard this year. But behind these flowers, I have a handful of tomato plants over there that's starting to green up a little bit and get a little bigger. This area seems, one, it has the worst soil. So this is just regular dirt that was already here. I added a little bit of Fox Farm potting soil on the top, but for the most part, y'all, we're in native soil. And these plants have not done as well as the plants that I have in my potting soil. But there are some tomatoes on there, and they're doing their thing. I've gotten most of my onion up from the front. That's what I had growing along the front here. And then I have 2 eggplants over there, 2 different varieties. And in the middle, I had all flowers, but y'all, those flowers were pansies. They don't like the heat. And on the back here, in the very back, that has been all cucumbers in the back. And again, once I gave them some fertilizer, they perked up and got happy. There's some there. There's one. There's one back there. Cucumbers are happy right here. I thought they were dead as well, but they're not. They're growing and they are happy. I replanted this bed a few days ago and they are just starting to come up. There's one little plant right there and there's some more over there as well. Put cabbage in this bed here. That's the second round, and I planted them too heavy. Once they come up, I will pull some out and transplant them to other places in the garden. This cucumber, this one's done. It's seen its last, it's on its last leg, but in the bottom, I've started another round. And the same thing goes for this one here. It's about done, but it's still pumping out a few cucumbers for now. And this one, I started all from seeds. So it was farther behind than the other 2 towers. And there are cucumbers on here as well. There's another one down there. Those are pretty big ones somewhere else on here. Just don't see it right now. There's some down there on the ground as well. And right next to it, that's okra, which actually is doing really well. And we've been harvesting plenty of okra for mom as well as friends. Now this pot got top heavy. One of the raccoons came over here and turned it over. So hopefully we'll get everything standing straight again. It's been putting lots of okra on. There's some little bitty okra on there now. We're going to give them one more day and let them finish getting a little bigger. And that'll be more than enough okra for mom. This bed had squash in it, or actually zucchini is what it had in it. I covered the roots up because the roots looked so bad just a few days ago. And these plants have greened back up. And I have zucchini trying to grow on it again. So we will let that keep going just to see how it does. And again, flowers in the front. Flowers over on that side there. So this is the last area right here. I have 2 17-inch metal raised beds. I have a trellis going over the 2, and I have beans growing on both of them. Now, y'all, I thought these beans were done for. I gave this thing a little bit of fertilizer, and it just woke up and took off again. So I have rattlesnake pole beans growing on this side, and on this side, I have blue lake pole beans, and they are coming in. I'm going to need to harvest them in the next day or so. Now, obviously, the front part of it right here is doing better than the back because the sun is this way over here. I'm going to have to rethink this setup next year. It's the first time I've done arches going in this direction. And for the green beans, I'm seeing that this doesn't really work. I'm gonna have to just turn it 90 degrees and it'll do better. On the back side of this bed right here, I've planted broccoli and cauliflower, and I heavily planted it, but y'all, it's starting to come up. So there's some little bitty seedlings starting to emerge down there. So when these seedlings get bigger, we will get them harvested and transplant them in a few other spaces. And here is some broccoli. And y'all, I haven't showed you not one broccoli harvest because I've only been harvesting 2 or 3 at a time. And when I harvest them, it's not even enough to weigh. So these rattlesnake beans right here are completely dried. I could take the seeds from here and use them for seeds for next year, I don't think I'm going to do rattlesnake next year. So here's a rattlesnake bean. It's very difficult to see, but it's got little stripes on it. The other thing that it has on it are strings. I prefer stringless beans, so we might not do rattlesnake again next year, but we'll absolutely do the Blue Lake pole beans. So y'all, you've gotten to see my whole garden, whether we're talking the orchard, the main garden behind me here, or my garden at the neighbors. This is our August garden tour. If you enjoyed it, please let me know by giving me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. Turn on notifications, tell your friends and family all about it, but these are the videos that I produce for you. Until next time, and I hope there will be a next time that you decide to hang out with me at Kim's Cozy Corner. Bye.